This NFL Draft Props Contest edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Shady Rays. Shady Rays is having their best deal of the year. Go to shadyrays.com and use code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. We're also brought to you by SGPN's Draft Week. All week long, SGPN has you covered with draft props, mock drafts, and our live NFL Draft Watch Party. So make sure to smash that subscribe button to youtube.com/Sports Gambling Podcasts.
Hey, this is Pac-Man Jones. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride. Yes, sir.
Long, Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
There's two of us in the box.
Yes, there are two men in the box.
Now there's three men in the box.
Joining us, host of Bottom Line Bombs on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, the man in the box himself, Mr. CJ Sullivan. What's happening, CJ?
Hey, thank you. I'm out of the box now. Here,
Yes.
the box is only for the bottom line bombs. Now I'm the C-generate when I'm out here. I have to get one of your. I have to get one of your guys' names.
I forgot the C-generate.
Yes, but the box is always open.
The box is always the box. Don't come a knocking if the box is a rocking.
We're having a mock box draft, if you will.
Exactly.
And Sean's being
yes.
serious. The box does rock when
really
the man's
does.
in the box.
We set up a pretty good soundproof the studio here, and Colby, when he does his intro, you can definitely hear it. But CJ, I can listen to pretty much the show, and we'll put on the show in the other room sometimes with the sound on because we like checking the show out. But then occasionally it'll be too much because I can where my seat is, I'll be hearing the version 15 seconds before the audio.
I like to make sure I get the venti iced coffee to make sure this box is fully rocking, if you will. And but it feels good. You're in the box seat right now. Can't you feel like the anger that comes out?
I see all the clutter across the room.
CJ has all these papers, clipboard. He's one of our analog.
I bring the paper and the passion, as I like to say.
The heat.
I'm getting to see the performance live, Sean. It's like
you're a part of it.
It's like that time we got to sit ringside for that amateur fight stuff.
Oh yeah,
you can like hear the smacking of the flesh.
Well, I say the papers are important because you can't smack a laptop. You know, it's like $2,000, and you got to because things go wrong. You go, God damn, you guys got to throw it up.
It's like a horse racing. You got to have that rolled up newspaper to whack. Something to whip.
That's why things don't have character these days.
Yeah,
that's how you build character into a table. Beat it up a little bit.
Chad is alive and well. ZD Mills, fellas, LFG. Chad saying CJ.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Chad G. Serial checking in as always. And he had a lot of people slide in and out of the box. Like it, CJ. Like it.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
I don't quite understand what he's talking about.
We got a great episode for you. So we're doing a free mock draft props contest because we're heroes. Giving away $250 cash and a $50 SGPN gift card exclusively for people in the Discord. Good reason to join the Discord if you haven't already. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Again, contest is free to enter the Discord, hang out there. So we have a contest, basically a bunch of props. Today's episode, we'll just walk through it, make our picks, and obviously you could fade us, or you can maybe even play the same entry, copy along, and then obviously Wednesday night we have the live mock draft, youtube.com/Sports Gambling Podcast, and then Thursday watch along with us on the draft. It'll be pretty awesome. CJ,
and it dawned on me I know that maybe the books have gotten a little tight in the butt when it comes to putting out the draft props, but There will be live wagering as well,
Oh, yes,
Sean.
100%.
So I totally forgot about that.
One of my favorite parts about coming in recently, the last couple weeks, definitely, has been Crame Dog with a finger on the refresh button. Said, I'm just waiting for the new draft props to come out on Bet Online. When are you going to come out, you cowards? He's calling his computer screen a coward, and it's just refreshing, like that scene in Social Network of the users. We're at 1 million users. Here we go. Finally, Sean, everybody, team's first pick by position is out. Everybody.
Well, what adds to it
you
too
got
is
to experience that live.
That
this
was
morning,
awesome.
yeah.
what
That was
adds
awesome.
to
I love it. Got me psyched.
What adds another level is that he's not in a chair. He's standing on his wobble board and he's going back and forth, getting a core workout, waiting for
getting the core workout, keeping the cerebrum balanced and even.
Waiting for the props to drop. All right, let's just get into it. We have the full list here of the props contest. Number 1 overall pick. I mean, if you're betting it right now, I don't think there's anything left. Correct me if I'm wrong. Bryce Young, runaway. I mean, are you even thinking of anything else, Ryan?
And shout out to Play Action, because they don't let you just choose the same guy for each pick too.
Yeah.
Once you burn a guy, he's out. So yeah, I mean, you have to go Bryce Young, like we've been saying since he was plus 300. No reason.
Gave him out plus odds. Him and CJ Stroud. I think we gave out both plus odds. I don't know. CJ, any thoughts on number 1? It seems like a slam dunk right now.
No, it's obvious number 1, and the owner's asking him what nutrition he wants and like taking him out different steak restaurants.
I got to be honest though, the way that everyone's mind would be blown would be Anthony Richardson. Right?
Anthony I guess if I had to do a dark horse, I would do Anthony Richardson. Moving over to number 2 now. This number 2 market's been all over the place. CJ Stroud was like the lock-in favorite for a long time. Then it became Tyree Wilson. Will Anderson was a favorite for a long time, and now recently, a lot of books are hanging Will Levis as the favorite. And I guess the logic there is that supposedly the Vikings are the team looking to trade up to get to the number 2 spot, because apparently the Colts are locked in on Will Levis. I just put out my mock draft. I had it going Tyree Wilson. I stood my ground.
I love it.
But CJ, what do you think? Will Levis, number 2?
Well, Will Levis definitely fits the role of the number 2 bust tradition. He's
got Carson. They compared him to Carson Wentz, and he's like instead of a religious Carson Wentz, he's like a weird bro Carson Wentz.
So we've had the weird Mormon Zach Wilson number 2 bust. You have the Hunter Christian weird bust. Now you have the weird bro eating a banana with a peel kind of bust. That came out of nowhere.
Oh, this is interesting.
And now they have the Vikings. I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Vikings going quarterback does make sense.
And that quarterback in particular.
Yes, Will Levis totally.
Yeah.
I just think you have to give up a ton.
Trubisky vibes I heard about him.
To get up to, you have to give up a ton to get to 2.
Right, perfect.
Especially with other people trying to trade to 3. I'm going to stick with Tyree Wilson, but Kramer, what are you doing here? You have not released your mock draft.
It's going to be dropping at some point in the next 24 hours. Here's what I would say. I think this is where you do that bit where you explain, like, if I was not doing trades, like I think the Texans take Tyree Wilson. I don't know if the Texans are making this pick. So for that reason, Will Levis is the pick.
Will Levis. All right,
that.
CJ, what are you doing? Are you going Will Levis or Tyree Wilson? Or Will Anderson?
There's a lot of choices.
CJ Stroud.
I like CJ Stroud. I mean, I like him personally.
Not worried about his dumb brain.
CJ doesn't grade on the S2 test.
No, I was just going to
he's
say
like the Texans.
We might not be able to be friends if he had to grade all his buddies on S2 tests.
I was just going to say, I love that. There's always that one narrative of that one quarterback being dumb, and they love pushing that out there.
It's bad on the whiteboard. They won't just say
exactly.
And breaking news, you know who's smart? The kid out of fucking Stanford.
Right.
He fucking aced the test.
But it's so funny. It's only for quarterbacks. Everyone else, they want to be dumb.
Yeah.
They get red flags.
Yeah, it's like, I want a guy who doesn't know what a rhombus is.
Kidding,
I want a guy who can't Pythagorean theorem. It makes his brain hurt.
They want guys. They don't want guys that are too smart.
That legit has been a concern.
They get red flags if they're too smart.
Yeah.
Like, who was the one guy, Roll from Florida State? Remember he won like the He went to Oxford. You know what I mean?
Rhodes Scholar.
Yeah, he's a Rhodes Scholar.
Kramer and I were talking about.
He's going to start questioning things here that we don't have answers to, quite frankly.
Imagine a smart guy talking to an NFL coach. That doesn't last very long.
Get that shit out of here.
Kramer and I were talking about the Kelsey Brothers podcast, and Jason Kelsey certainly seems almost too smart to be playing football.
How are they the same? How are they the same genetic makeup? One is not smart at all.
Right.
One's very smart.
All right,
but I'll go with Levis just because I like that connection of Minnesota and the number 2 tradition.
It does, it does.
Bust.
It does work for the trade up options as well there. So number 3, you got C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, Anthony Richardson. I'm going Will Anderson with the idea that I don't know, Arizona isn't able to trade out, or the trade is so bad. But again, you could go quarterback here again. Adam Schefter really seemed to come out and have that statement where he said he bet, I think, Dan Orlovsky that it wouldn't be quarterback for the first 4, which makes me think he knows 2 and 3.
No,
one of those spots isn't a quarterback.
He's a hot air balloon at this point.
I know.
He's barely
None
reporting.
of them know anything. It's hilarious. There's so many mock drafts. We're talking about it beforehand. It's like, I love the updated one. It's like literally paper. Get this one off the presses. the Wonderlicks came in. Tennessee might trade up. You're like what are you doing? Like you're updating. Fire them off.
Fucking newsies.
You're right. Exactly. Wait a minute. Do you have Stroud going 5? No, that's the old one.
Well, I got really pissed because my mock draft went live
It's an old newsroom.
right before the trade came down of the Aaron Rodgers Jets. Officially, the trade went.
Yeah.
And part of the trade was they pick swapped in the first round. And I just said, fuck it. I'm not changing the players. I'm just adjusting the spots. I'm not, because you have to redo the whole thing then. And I didn't have it in me. So I'll go Will Anderson. I'm kind of leaning with Kramer that taking Tyree Wilson over Will Anderson is crazy, but it does seem like that could happen. What about you, Kramer? What are you doing for the number 3 pick?
Well, again, I think if Arizona's making the pick, I like the idea of it being Will Anderson. It feels like a safe pick. Defensive head coach who maybe not smart himself, so do the smart thing. But I don't think they're not making the pick. Because I think someone's coming up for Anthony Richardson here. And, in the scenario we kind of talked about where someone trades up to 2, maybe it's Indy, then Houston comes back up to 3. I certainly think there's going to be a trade up to 3 for a quarterback. Whether or not 2 was a quarterback to start with, I don't know. So I went Anthony Richardson. I think we've heard about the Tennessee smoke. I think there's like mild Seattle smoke. I think maybe I'm just creating that myself.
No, Anthony Richardson to Seattle has gotten decent steam.
No, they trade up from 6 to 3. Yeah, they come up to 3 to get him.
Well, because again, you almost have to trade to 3 to block anyone else from trading to 3. Like not necessarily even to jump ahead of the Colts, who also need a quarterback, but supposedly they want Levis. But if they don't get Levis, then Indy, by all accounts, is definitely getting a quarterback. It seems like Will Levis is their number 1. It's unclear who their 2 is.
And I'll be honest, I think Indy could be taking. The more that I sat down as I was doing the mock draft, the more I'm like, it does make more sense that Anthony Richardson's the guy in Indy, and that could be 3 as well. So I don't know. CJ, what are you doing?
3, I like. I don't know if. I do like Anthony Richardson there. I believe the Tennessee one. I don't.
Yeah, there seems to be smoke there.
I don't believe Seattle though. They just got Geno Smith. They wrote him back. They wrote him off. He never wrote back. He typed email.
They did seem to kind of lean into it, but do
you know how hard Pete Carroll would get to Anthony Richardson? All he does is come in for like a couple packages here and there and do crazy fucking shit.
He's my favorite kind of quarterback. Absolutely terrible on the field. Just amazing in every workout and all that. Like,
DK Metcalf. I mean, DK Metcalf just took his shirt off, and he ended up being a good receiver.
Sean, what did we learn? We love firefighters on this program.
And
we learned that
Anthony Richardson is a firefighter.
Fucking firefighter.
Sign me up. No, I like him 3.
Well, and then that I mean, again, I think you're right. Seattle drafts Anthony Richardson. He's a firefighter. FDNY, Carroll has some questions. As you know,
I like where this is going.
Well, 9/11, he just had some questions. There's still some things he wants to know. Well, who better to ask than a guy who's also a firefighter?
We got Geno for 2 years. While he's starting, I'm going to need you to dig up some shit here. Infiltrate the I mean,
I love a great quarterback conspiracy room, and that would be if you get
yes.
Richardson, Geno, and Carroll in that room together.
listen, kid, when they write you off, just make sure you don't write back.
All right. Good idea, Mr. Smith. All right. Pick number 4. I'm going Levis because I didn't use him earlier, but you guys already had Will Levis drafted. Assuming this plays out, what are you doing here?
I would personally. So there's been trades at this point, so who knows who the fuck is picking? But I personally would have Will Anderson coming off the board. But
Okay.
I think it could be Houston here. I think it could be Arizona here. I think it's going to be Jalen Carter or Tyree Wilson, who's not in the field here. So I took other.
Oh, wow.
He
Other.
took the field.
I think it's defensive. I just don't. I'm starting to believe that the pro teams think Will Anderson peaked. Like these other guys have the
Right.
measurables, and Will Anderson's just a dude that played hard. Which again, if you watch, it's crazy
that does
fucking
seem to
take.
be his.
Yeah.
And Jalen Carter fell out of shape in like a month and a half, which is probably not that's a terrifying characteristic to have. So other.
Much more terrifying to being in a drag race and having your coach killed.
Well,
that's for sure.
That's also concerning.
No, I'm being serious.
Oh, yeah,
like
it's
for
on
the
the
NFL
field.
teams, it's
Yeah.
much more concerning that he got out of shape.
Treylon Burks lost the season.
Then he did a hit and run, fled the scene, lied to cops about
Little
a wreck
asthma.
scene. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Like the NFL could care less about that, but the scene. So you think the Colts are trading up?
So in this scenario, this is probably the Texans or the Cardinals.
What are you doing at 4, CJ?
I'm thinking the Colts are standing pat and taking a quarterback. And I think Irsay's the kind of guy who only watches like the championship games.
Oh,
and
Ohio
playoffs.
State.
Right.
Oh.
Absolutely. And rack up CJ Stroud as a quarterback.
You know,
that certainly could.
Strong take.
I leaned into my mock. I leaned into the idea that basically Irsay, the 2 people he listens to, 1 is probation officer, 2, the look, because you got to follow the rules.
Yes.
The second one being Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning supposedly was a big Will Levis guy. So that was my angle on it. Number 5, 5th pick overall. What are you doing here, Kramer?
So this is where it becomes. I thought it was going to be Carter or Wilson with the last pick. I want to find a second defensive player taken, Mark, because I think this is Will Anderson here.
I went for my mock, and we'll see if it's even listed as an option here. No, it's not. I'm going other here because supposedly the Seahawks are out on Jalen Carter because they've had low character guys or people they believe to kind of be low character, and they're off on him.
That's why it's Will Anderson.
Well, right, but in my version, Will Anderson's already been taken. I have them taking Devin Witherspoon because I think his motor is something that Pete Carroll could get behind. And
See, I think Christian Gonzalez fits his.
You really like him better there.
Well, he likes the long corners.
That's also true.
He's from the Pacific Northwest. He would have. Pete Carroll doesn't get probably not getting eyes on a lot of games, so he's watching the West Coast stuff.
What about you, CJ? What are you doing at 5?
I like any motor analysis, by the way, though. Always vouching for that. I got Will Anderson going for I think he's my first. I got 4 quarterbacks and Will Anderson.
Yeah.
And I see Carter slipping behind him. Like he's kind of giving me, and I love Carter, but I think you're right about him fading down. He's got like Warren Sapp vibes where they just make up a story about him doing coke or something. and then
Something's
right. And next year you're taking Mike Mamula ahead of him, and he goes on to be a Hall of Famer.
Number 6. This is where I have Jalen Carter going to the Lions. It's you can see him fitting in.
Yeah.
Right in Detroit pretty well. You're shaking your head, Ryan. You think the Lions are out on Jalen Carter?
I think that this is where I know you already have Devin Witherspoon go.
Okay.
Devin Witherspoon. What do we said? We said Dan Campbell said only 4 guys checked the box for him. I'm willing to bet it's Devin Witherspoon, a local guy who he almost certainly watched play in person. And I mean, what did you say, motor? But just the way he plays.
I was just gonna say, I want to see Dan Campbell's boxes, and I bet 3 of them are motor.
And they traded Akuda.
Also, you don't want to. You want to keep Jalen Carter away from motors.
Yeah,
motor vehicles. In the Motor City, there
Motor
could be
City.
some problems.
I like that.
Yeah, that'd be tough. So yeah, I took the Illinois kid goes to Detroit.
Okay. What about you, CJ?
I have Jalen Carter going to him just because
Okay.
he's too much of a talent in defense, and Campbell. I mean,
It does feel like if he's available at 6,
you can't pass on him. You know,
I think it's going to be tough for them not
Son,
to take him.
We're gonna make. You're not gonna be doing any of that driving around.
Right.
If I'm an NFL team, he's not allowed to drive.
No,
Hire
unlimited.
a driver.
they all have drivers available. When
Yeah,
we learned this, like, what is going on?
They have a NFLPA.
Right.
That's like an Uber hotline for them.
My God.
Hey, before we get to the rest of the props contest picks, shout out to Shady Rays. Love my Shady Rays. Again, I mean, they got you covered. You're out there golfing. Maybe you're going for a ride. You get jet ski out. I bet there's a lot of guys listening here, own or operate a boat from time to time. Toss on those Shady Rays. Insane protection when it comes to eyewear. Again, you want a great pair of sunglasses, and their lost and broken replacements policy is great. Again, you lose or break your pair day one, no questions asked. They're not prying in your business. Yes. No questions asked. I was paddleboarding. My wife got into paddleboarding. She said, "Hey, let's go out paddleboarding." I had to rent a paddleboard, and the lady before she launched me out on the paddle boarding, I said, "Hey, your sunglasses, if they fall off, they're going to sink to the bottom." I go, "I don't care. They're Shady Rays. And to hell with them. If I lose them, I lose them." Backed by an amazing replacement policy. So shout out to Shady Rays. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out the best deal of the year. Go to shadyrays.com. Use code SGPN for 50% off. 2+ pairs of polarized shades. Try for yourself. The sunglasses rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say pick number 7.
Oh, did you spend more time on your feet or your knees?
Oh, feet. Okay. I mean, I went in the marina, it was it's pretty easy to stand up. I don't know, like maybe if you get out,
it's casual, right? That's what
it's like pretty chill.
So much that we can have a conversation about your sunglasses falling in the water with a concerned paddleboard community. You know,
people will bring their dogs out on them. Like it's pretty.
They're quite sturdy. They don't do great if you have like a crosswind or anything like that.
Yeah.
But again, like complete revelation when I got on one of those in a river going down it like rapids.
Yeah, like
it's hard, but it's very fun.
Yes.
Number 7 pick overall in my mock draft, I have the Raiders selecting CJ Stroud. Maybe they actually have to trade up to get this done, but CJ Stroud, it does seem like they tried pretty hard to trade up to 1. The Panthers had a better offer than them. Supposedly throwing in DJ Moore, like that was what really sold them. So I think the Raiders still want to get CJ Stroud. Maybe they don't have to move up that far. I'm going CJ Stroud here. I do think CJ Stroud, when we see those last quarterbacks to be drafted odds, that's kind of interesting for Stroud. So I'm taking CJ Stroud at 7, but for the choices, it's Skowronsky, Witherspoon, Gonzalez, Paris Johnson. I went other. Kramer, what are you doing at 7 here?
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, these are really hard because I do expect at least 2 trades in the top 10.
Yeah. So for me, it's like the linemen are available, Gonzalez is available, but the other guys aren't. And so I went other. I probably because it's CJ Stroud. I'm kind of in on that idea. Although I don't have a strong read on what they're up to. They could maybe they're fine with fucking Jimmy G.
I mean, Stroud is definitely a Raider type of quarterback.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I think you're right. They need so much help on defense. Like any defensive position you can go with, you can go D-back, edge rusher, line, anything.
That's why also I think it could they could be the beneficiaries of one of the big. Like 3 linemen falling.
Well, and I bet the prop Raiders to select their first pick to be a running back because I do think them drafting Bijan Robinson. I bet it at 100 to 1.
They're wild cards.
It's down to 50 to 1.
I want a montage of Sean crowbarring this into every conversation.
And every news article about Josh Jacobs not signing his.
Sends me random articles and I read the whole thing. I'm like, what am I taking away from this?
I love it. I mean, they do like to make splash. That's why Stroud makes sense and Bijan would be fun. They're just because they're. I mean, they are dumb enough to do that.
If they do stick to their guns and take a defensive player and the linemen aren't available, Gonzalez also makes the division they're in, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I went other because I think it might be C.J. Stroud
for pick number 8 right now. It is currently the Atlanta Falcons. I'm selecting for the contest. I am selecting Bijan. I know he's one of the odds-on favorites to go to the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons just seem like a weird team that would pull this off. If I was the Falcons, I would not draft Bijan Robinson, but I think there's a decent chance they do. Kramer, what do you?
Jalen Carter's available.
Oh, in your version,
and so he stays home here.
Yes.
Oh man,
so
they would if they got Jalen Carter at 8.
That's beautiful.
I mean, again, like there seems to be a ton of smoke of people saying this team's out on Jalen Carter. This team's out on Jalen Carter. So if he's so confident he's going in the top 10, I guess it's. I'm starting to think it's between like even the Raiders. Like I have the Raiders skipping Jalen Carter to take a quarterback. So. Jalen Carter, yeah, it's certainly an interesting storyline. He stays home, but make or break for my Falcons.
CJ?
I don't love the pick.
It's a great story. Let's see. I went 7. By the way, I don't know if I said. Announced it. I went Tyree Wilson.
Okay.
Raiders. They need
the anonymous man with good measurables.
Exactly, and just in perfect counterpoint with Max Crosby there on the ends that they could. I could just see that fitting. So then 8. Then I went with Witherspoon still available for me. For me, he's the best cornerback out there, and. I can see him down in Atlanta. He went to the Illinois blanket cover, man. That's more of the Falcons of the yesteryear.
Because they have Terrell too. Like that would be if they were able to get a second. Like in my Gonzalez is still available, so I could have gone other here. But yeah, Sean, you took Bijan.
Yeah, I took Bijan.
Yes.
All right, so 9. Who do the Bears go with now?
That is my
lineman, right?
Yeah, Paris Johnson. I feel like them going lineman.
That's perfect.
No chance Darnell Wright. They shocked the world.
Maybe. It does seem like
shock the world with a Darnell Wright pick.
It doesn't. Seem
that's why he's only 1 point there. That mock draft.
What is that reason? Is that a typo?
Right.
Why am I only getting?
So it's a chalky shock in the world.
Yes.
A chalky shock.
Which doesn't make sense.
No.
Which doesn't really make sense because.
Or is it low score wins in this? Is it like a golf thing?
No, I don't.
So them to draft Bears to draft their first pick to be an offensive lineman is at -180. I think if you're looking to bet it, you just eat the chalk here.
Well, maybe because all the others are +1, so maybe it is low points for the system. Sorry,
you want
not to break down the
rules.
rules.
You want high points.
No, yeah, I think they just probably.
Oh, you want high points?
Missed the price on that one.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, of course.
If you didn't get it, you would get 0 points.
I was just reading it wrong. All right, yeah, it's Paris Johnson anyway, right?
I'm going Paris Johnson.
I mean, there's no doubt about this. I think.
I'm looking at one of these mock draft databases.
What does Darnell Wright go for price wise?
Do you want to hear the breakdown from mock draft database?
Absolutely,
sure.
I do.
Paris Johnson 27, Peter Skowronsky 22, Jalen Carter 9, and then other. And Darnell Wright's got to be right at the top of that other.
So odds of first offensive lineman selected: Paris Johnson's -200, Skowronsky's +170, Darnell Wright is +425. So Darnell Wright's in the mix. And
hell yeah, let's go.
Woo, it's smoking my weed.
That's my pick.
Broderick Jones +650. So I don't even know if it's certainly not the favorite, but I don't think it's even that crazy. For me, number 10, the Philadelphia Eagles. They are going with I'm going to say Nolan Smith.
Yeah.
Now I don't know why they have offensive linemen favored like at a pretty high clip here for the Eagles.
Yeah.
They're not getting they wouldn't even be getting the first offensive lineman. 2 other options. I do think if Jalen Carter is available at 7 or 8, I think them trading up is definitely a possibility because I know they like him. I don't think Bijan to me I still can't make that make sense. Nolan Smith makes a ton of sense. His comp is Hassan Reddick. So you just put him on the opposite side of Hassan Reddick. He can drop back in coverage a little bit. He seems
small. That's the only when you watch him, it's like
he's
going to take a while, but his ceiling is just through the roof. He's going to be a star eventually.
And they wouldn't, they could still rotate him in. They wouldn't need him to do stuff right away. I do think also, maybe even not at 10, maybe if they trade back, We had talked about the Eagles taking a receiver. I don't think that's completely out of the question. Smith and Jigba report today had them linked to Smith and Jigba, and originally they were 50-1 to take a receiver with their first pick. Now it's all the way down to 10-1. So I don't know if it's just the betting market reacting to that article, but I think that's a possibility.
I think there's also a chance that the Eagles trade up this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I mean, you look at the way their cap is structured, the 4-year window. So you want to get all the rookies you can now, because that 5th year you're gonna have to pay Jalen Hurts like $1 bajillion. So the window's right now. I'm not even going to repeat myself.
I was just going to say, I can see the avenue. He was taking a long walk off that plank to get to get to that shot.
Next 4 years, you have no cap hit from.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh, that's why you're not trading back for equity in the future.
Yeah. Okay,
you're drafting now because your window's not in the future. You're going to owe Jalen Hurts 185.
I'd say the next 4 years are the future.
Yeah, I'm saying, but draft picks now run through the next 4 years. Versus,
you're just a hater, Ryan. Who are they taking?
No, I'm telling you, they're not going to be trading back this year for future draft picks.
All right, fair enough.
I don't.
Nolan Smith's the answer. I'm with you.
I agree.
CJ?
I agree with Nolan Smith. Receiver, you just give me PTSD just mentioning that the Eagles taking a receiver.
Oh, come on, we took Devonta Smith at 10.
Yes, but that's great. Stick to SEC and Clemson, whatever. That's it. But when they start reaching out,
if they take the TCU receiver,
get TCU receivers. I don't even want a Northwestern O lineman. I don't want this. It just close your eyes and throw Alabama, Georgia,
and Alabama. He's got a good track record going.
Call Alabama, call Georgia. Say you tell us. Just throw someone our way. We'll take them.
Even Gettleman knew that. Love drafting those players from Georgia.
Will a top 5 pick be traded during the draft? 100% yes,
Easy.
right?
But last year, a week like this, at this point in the week, we were like, "Oh, there's gonna be so many fucking trades."
It's pretty boring.
It was late. Yeah, I mean, other than the Eagles trading, Sean seemed to be excited about that.
QB exacta. He had the two answers are Young, Stroud, or any other combination. For me, any other combination.
Field.
Lead pipe lock.
I would love Young Stroud to be it, but you can't play that.
Yeah.
When was this? When was this made? A week ago? I mean, this might as well be covering the Titanic crashing. That's how old this news is.
If you want to play a contrarian contest card,
I feel like you're right.
True.
Everyone is going to be playing other total quarterbacks.
Still want to get points, though.
Yeah, and it's only 1 point going against the risk reward on that.
Yeah, I really want to play this shitty player because no one's going to play him in the GPP this week.
I like playing Stroud at number 2 and then also going other on this one. Hedge yourself. Hedge yourself for no reason. Yeah,
total quarterback selected in round 1, aka will Hendon Hooker be a first round pick. Over 4.5 is or the total set at 4.5. I kept going back and forth. I was saying Hendon Hooker's not a first round pick. I was believing it, but the steam coming late and the chatter is too strong. I've caved, and I had the Tampa Bay Bucks drafting Hendon Hooker, so I gotta stick with over 4.5. Kramer, where are you at? I feel like I've waffled on this a bunch.
I went over because again, I think teams they've heard too many dumb TV heads say things like, "Well, you get the 5th year of control," and look at the delta between the median quarterback contract and what these rookies are making. So I think if you would all think Hendon Hooker could be a dude, I mean, again, the Eagles are a good example of what happens if you take the guy in the 2nd round. You got to pay him earlier. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And so I think if you're going to make a gamble like this, obviously you're assuming you're going to be right.
You're losing a year with Hendon Hooker anyway, so you want to. Probably. I mean, the odds of him doing much his rookie year.
Draft him in the 1st round. You got him till he's 30.
It's just that he tore his ACL like a week ago. It seems like it was pretty recent.
Yeah, it was
like
in December.
Yeah,
right?
it was like week
late
10.
December.
And like you're right. You're making us play. I went under only because, although I do like both of your theories of it's how dumb are the teams listening to the dumb people on TV talking about it. Because I remember when this first came up, like not first came up, it was one of their, Kuiper and McShay's mock draft, ESPN live, just like panel 1, and then they have, so they bring in any talking heads they have, and like, here, just read this script, you know. And so their GM is what, Tannenbaum or whatever they have on there, and he's like, and he said Hooker 4 overall, and then Kuiper just rips on him. Like, that'd be one of the worst, you know, things or shocking things. And you see it while Kuiper's undressing him, Tannenbaum's just looking at him like, come on, man, like I don't know what this is. They told me to say this, and now you're just gonna rip me on it before you set me up for this. But yeah, this is how we make our money. This is what we do.
Which, by the way, Kuiper is another man in the box. He has not left his. It seems like he doesn't. He doesn't ever show up in studio anymore. Lazy fuck. You were saying. So you think he's going second round?
I think yeah. So I think it is all smoke. You're just flipping a coin that our team's dumb enough to believe. And you're right, since it's on in the offices all the time, so it is going to ingrain their brains. You know, like they have nothing but this on. They don't know anything about.
And I do think events. If for whatever reason, Hendon Hooker must like. We saw it from Malik Willis last year. Like the reason his fall seemed so drastic was because everyone felt he was a nice guy. And like you could tell, no one really wanted to shit on the guy.
No one wanted to kill him. CJ Stroud apparently no problem.
Right,
killing
Jesus. Brady Quinn coming after.
Who picked? All right. So next up, we got who is picked first between Anthony Richardson and
I like this one.
Will Levis. This one's tough.
This is a solid bet.
To me, it was like, oh, so obvious. It was Richardson for the longest time, and then the Levis. Levis going number 2. The odds on that, and the fact that the Colts have locked in their love of Will Levis and that they definitely want him. So that scared me off of it. I'm going to say Will Levis actually is picked first. Although I feel like, again, this one I've bounced around as we've gone through the process.
Okay. Think about it. Either someone trades up to 2.
Yep.
Or Houston
or 3
decides I'm going to go defense. If it's 3, I think Indy trades up a pick to make sure no one jumps them.
You're right. Yep.
So I think unless Richardson is randomly the first pick or Houston's pick, I think you got to play Levis here.
Well, yeah, and Richardson. I mean, obviously you can. This is for whatever the prize, but like Richardson to go to Texans is like 16 to 20 to 1. So there was certainly a chance if you want to play that. You can kind of hedge your bet there. But what's your thoughts, CJ? Are you going Levis? Are you like?
I broke that. Yeah, I like the Levis because he's the number 2 bust, banana peel, whole situation there. The Texans, I don't know why. I can see them sitting on Dave Mills for crying out. No one like brings up that. I like when people say that like they got to draft a quarterback. Dave Mills is the same numbers as Justin Fields, if you ask me. But no one's gonna rip on the Bears if they don't take a quarterback because they have their future. But
playing up for Kramer. Get them all worked up about hating on
CJ, be careful. Bears fans are just as feisty as Kentucky
I know
fans.
All Bears fans. I know.
They're coming at you.
They love. I mean, they loved.
CJ, you wouldn't believe it. I predicted last year they were going to go 3-14. They got so upset. They were chirping so loud when they were 3-4,
winning in the flood, the opening week versus the Niners, doing wet angels. We all root for Fields, but that's fine. But
his S2 score was apparently pretty good, surprisingly.
Justin Fields?
Yeah.
Okay. Ryan
does well with shapes and colors.
Oh,
Ryan
has that replaced the Wonderlic, the S2?
No, for some teams not named the Texans. Yes.
Is it like it's like the SATs or
basically they're
ACTs?
Like they figured out like these standardized tests are all bullshit,
right?
And there are like clinical retards who can pass these things really well if you just literally train
it's
for
a
the
medical
test.
term if people are offended.
It's
clinical.
Sorry, retard.
Retard's personal.
Not retard. I apologize for saying that. Retard.
No, you said clinical before.
Similar to the combine, right? A completely ridiculous set of tests to measure someone in an inappropriate way.
Who's picked first? Paris Johnson or Skowronsky?
The odds would tell you to smash Johnson. He's minus 200. So I'm not
overthinking this. I'm going to take the odds on betting favorite.
I kind of don't think the odds on betting favorite's going to happen in that one. I mean,
so do you like Skowronsky or you like going wild card?
Well, I have right. I've been debating if I want to take an actual position on it because I do think he's the first lineman that goes and he goes to the Bears. So Like that's where my mock.
Skowronsky to the Bears.
And if that happens, then
right
maybe
to the Bears.
Right to the Bears,
maybe the Eagles do take offensive linemen because I think if Paris Johnson is available at 10,
I wouldn't
do
mind
you
that at
know
all.
why?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you why I think Wright goes first. Because everyone figured out that he's the only guy that could. He blocked Will Anderson. He's the only guy all year that blocked Will. He's the reason that people say, when Will Anderson goes against an NFL tackle, he kind of struggled a little bit. It was because of that game. So that's the answer. And NFL teams are simple-minded.
CJ, what are you doing?
Like
Paris Johnson, Skowronsky?
Yeah, Paris Johnson. I can see Skowronsky to the Bears would be very Bear. Speaking of Bear fans, and they would.
It's
love,
a Bear name.
They love
Skowronsky.
Right, yeah, and they love their
You can
Northwestern
see guys,
idiots.
Yeah, eating a Polish dog.
Right.
Skowronsky was the name of
jersey.
Benedictus horse.
And, go up to Evanston, see their guy up there. He's smart because he went to Northwestern.
He really is the local angle I overlook for Skowronsky.
And Chicago loves the local angle. Of course, they claim the local angle is like a 1,000-mile radius anywhere around it, from Kansas City to Pittsburgh. I think is close to Chicago.
Yeah, but you want to get good football players, so you go to the SEC, right?
Yeah, but Chicago's very Big Ten-ish. They're very Midwest, So I still like Paris Johnson.
Yeah,
I mean.
This one, I haven't done as much research on this market. The linebacker Sanders or the linebacker Campbell. Kramer, do you have what are you doing here?
Well, I think it's a pretty lame. Who cares about linebackers? This is modern NFL.
This is
what is this 1987?
I think the odds have come closer together. So if you're giving this the old horse racing look, you're wondering why Drew Sanders is all of a sudden a dead heat with Jack Campbell in the betting windows, because Jack Campbell, for most of the year, most of the offseason, he was the guy. So
yeah. So I'm gonna default and just go with the guy getting the late steam with Sanders. But
it's all right. So you got Jack Campbell, white guy from Iowa, against Drew Sanders, white guy from Arkansas.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. Jack Campbell.
Tough.
Jack Campbell is like, if you listen to the film guys. Jack Campbell gets everyone hard as fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
I think this is a classic. There's a little bit like Jack Campbell's the guy, unless someone gets cute and decides this guy's a better prospect.
Right. Sanders is getting steam, and if you want to pick you gotta there's different subgenres when it comes to your whites, especially the white linebackers. I prefer my whites from Iowa. They got a rich history.
Lucas
of whites.
Van Ness.
They know how to upgrade their whites.
It's from carrying the hay barrels.
Arkansas whites are wild cards. They're they're like poor man's Bosworth type whites.
I don't mean this. I don't say this about many states. I love most places in this great country. Arkansas is not one of those.
Yeah,
Wow.
Arkansas is a bad place.
Yeah, it's personal. They attacked me first.
Really?
They threw the punch. I don't ever need to go back there.
Arkansas is a wild place.
I can fly over and wave.
They don't belong.
Shout out to everyone from Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas. Well, Arkansas. Like everyone hates Arkansas, including Arkansas. They're just a
they're
weird
not huge
location.
fans.
You know what I mean? Like even in the whole South, they don't really belong in the South. They don't belong in the West. They're their own thing. And but I will say, Banging in Little Rock, still one of the best documentaries I've ever seen on HBO. Speaking of whites, the white gangsters of Arkansas, Banging in Little Rock.
So Campbell.
Look it up.
so what are you doing, CJ? I'll stick with Sanders, but
Or are you saying the Arkansas edge has you on Sanders?
Yeah, I think I just talked myself into Sanders. just for a Banging in Little Rock reference.
The Arkansas edge.
I can see him go. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously we're talking end of the first round, so you never know when you're talking about.
Yeah,
The
it does
linebackers.
seem like these guys could both end up being second rounders too.
Right. I mean, I'd be shocked if they go.
Death of the inside. I mean, Colby is dying slowly with all these great positions that are being killed off.
next up, tight end. Dalton Kincaid or Michael Mayer? Who's picked first? Again, I famously predicted Luke Musgrave would be the first tight end off the board.
Can we get you a hype man so you don't have to do your own touting? We get someone that just hits a button.
I'm not even touting. I'm pointing out that I
You
got it at
famously
30 to
did
1.
something.
Right.
It's now 65 to 1.
Yes, famous.
Wait, it's gotten worse?
Oh yeah. It doesn't look like the Luke Musgrave thing is going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Mayer
by a mile, right? The odds swung. We got a little steam on Kincaid. It does seem like Kincaid is I don't know, like if Evan Ingram's going to help get anyone paid, it's Dalton Kincaid. To me, there's going to be a team that sells themselves on Michael Mayer doing everything. And so that's the answer. As much as I'd like to pick one of these other guys, Sam Laporta is the fun one. But I mean, in a heads-up battle between Kincaid and Mayer, give me Mayer at this point. And I think it's probably going to be the Cowboys.
Ooh. Yeah, I think that's kind of important. Who is going to be the team that takes the first?
Yes,
I think it's the Cowboys.
Because I actually think Kincaid's maybe the better player. But like,
he doesn't block.
If it's someone like Green Bay, I see them taking Mayer. You know what I mean?
Green Bay seems to be a great fit for Mayer, and it'll be interesting because part of the Rodgers trade was them pick swapping. Does that change going from 15 to 13? Were they trying to leap over? So
we know Green Bay wants a tight end. We know
the pick swap does affect things.
I just which team that we know is interested in a tight end would take Kincaid over Mayer.
I mean, they jumped over the Patriots, and you could Bill Belichick spending a first round pick on a tight end makes a ton of sense.
Detroit needs a tight end,
but none of them
Campbell
like Kincaid the most.
Right.
So I have Mayer going to the Packers in my mock, and Kincaid going to the Lions.
They like blocking.
I like that.
All the the teams that want tight ends like block.
Well, that's 90s football. Tight ends don't block anymore. You can't. I mean, come on. What do you want me to do? You want me to you want me to beat a D-back, or you want me to block somebody?
So you're on Mayer, CJ?
I'm on Mayer just because I think, like you said, I think Packers are going to take him.
Yeah.
Quick reminder: if you haven't already signed up for Underdog Fantasy, what are you waiting for? Best Ball Mania 4 is coming. Kramer, what is the prize package for Best Ball Mania 4? It's insane, right?
The 15 million. I think
15 million. Are you kidding me?
I like that it's IV. I'm really going to lean into that joke over and over again.
And again, of course, daily games, NHL, NBA, MLB, they got you covered. And you can parlay player props over at Underdog. And again, best ball season alive and well. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use promo code SGPN. Get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. JSN. Over 12.5, under 12.5. I'm going over 12.5. I just don't see any of these early teams drafting him, and there's a chance he's not the first receiver drafted. I still think that's a real thing.
That's a good point. Although I think he has to be, but you're right. I actually went under. I think Arizona takes him at 11.
Oh,
I mean Hopkins is gone. There's just no way, dude. I mean that's just inevitable.
Another small
pairing him up with Jonathan Gannon.
Hollywood.
Yeah, they got with Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm on the over.
Yeah, the over makes sense, but I think Arizona takes him at 11.
And I'm with you, Sean. I think we've heard enough about. People are starting to sprinkle those reasons why he might not be the first pick, even though he's obviously a big. Honestly, I would say he's the one guy we can credit the fantasy community. Because they fell in love with him.
Well, and he's
just as much as the NFL.
He's a PPR guy. Like if you're playing full point,
slot guy won't be the first receiver take. I'm on that.
It's just not sexy to these GMs. I'm with you. Quentin Johnson, I still think is actually a way better bet now because he at least has a different athletic profile than the rest of these guys that are small guys.
Addison or Flowers in play too.
How often are like your Field Yates and all these analysts, white analysts, rehearsing saying his name so they don't get it wrong. A lot of pressure.
I will say,
I mean, it can go wrong in a hurry.
Considering the letter usage, it's much easier than it's shockingly easy to say.
Spokenly, but if you're looking at it on paper, if you're reading,
that's why they. You know what I
mean? That's when
JSN is.
Yes,
okay,
JSN.
That has us covered.
Hey, you got a new nickname, Jackson. You can choose. Either way, we're not saying your last name.
Well, that's the worst part. It's Jackson with an X.
Yeah,
it's a modern Jackson.
The hard X.
Joey Porter Jr. His over under 16.5. No Penn State cornerback has ever been selected in the first round. I thought there was a chance he might drop out of the first round. I ended up giving him to the Ravens at 22. So I'm going to over 16.5.
I mean, Harbaugh's on record of saying it'd be great to draft him to get his dad rooting for the Ravens. So that's a fun.
What a great strategy that is.
Yeah,
what a good reason.
Former Steeler getting him rooting for the Ravens. I certainly know the Giants love him. It does seem like he's in the range to go in the second half of the first round. So I also went over. That being said, cornerbacks are cornerbacks. So I think if there's any position that's going to randomly catch steam like receivers, it's cornerbacks.
That is,
and Joey Porter's an all-time like good. Like if Detroit drafted him at 6 because he had it, I wouldn't be surprised.
I like that wise soundbite though.
But I'm going over.
Cornerbacks are quarterbacks.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
What about you, CJ?
I went over. I see him going to Baltimore or something, like, somewhere in the mid-20s, low 20s, like that.
Zay Flowers draft spot over 22.5. This one,
This is tough.
I don't know, man. It does feel like the receivers are going to slide. It's an underwhelming class, but to Kramer's point, at least like if I'm betting this as a prop, I'm considering him for the first spot. But what are you doing here, Kramer?
Oh, I'm going under. And I think, I mean, this could be as simple as New England keeps him in the Chowderhead market, brings him right down the street. I think this could be a number. Any number of teams could talk themselves. I mean, Seattle. We've discussed this, right? He's almost a perfect fill-in for Tyler Lockett. They look very similar. Yeah. There's even been some smoke about the idea that Tennessee likes Zay Flowers. So
see that.
I'm gonna say under. I think Zay Flowers. If I'm calculating odds for first receiver,
yeah, you talked me into under. You made a good case.
Zay and we just this was like I've had this take for a while, but Zay Flowers is really good. And so from a fantasy perspective too, I think Zay Flowers has the best chance to come in and be useful from day one. And unlike Jackson, Smith, and Jigba, he played more than one position.
Boldly said his full name.
See what I did there?
I'll take Zay Flowers under 22.5. CJ,
nice deliberate.
I'm a pro.
Too.
I'm a pro.
Nice deliberate delivery. I went under because I see him. If not had teams, I like him going to the Chargers at 21. I think they are, so they're right underneath there.
In the range.
They're definitely in the range. I love Flowers. He is great. He's one of those players like you see him and you're like, why are you at Boston College? Why did you go there?
Yeah, how did you not? How bad were your SATs? Well, but Boston College
is a good school.
Yeah,
that's my first question. It's not a red flag, but during those ridiculous interviews, that'd be my first question.
From
okay,
Florida,
Boston
too.
College. Why? What happened? You know what I mean? Like, did you? Tell me you were paid money. I don't care. I'll listen to that. You saw a game one time on TV. Doug Flutie talked at a camp or something. I don't know. But why the hell were you at Boston College? You are amazing. And the Chargers, I mean, there's trouble down the road as far as receivers go with them. Keenan Allen is definitely going to
they basically said they're going to draft a receiver. Right. It's just figuring out which one.
Sean, real quick,
yes.
You want another Seattle nugget for Zay Flowers?
Let's go.
As a true freshman, Flowers caught 22 passes for 341 yards and 3 touchdowns. After Boston College sent home their students on March 2020, he returned to Florida and worked out with NFL players Antonio Brown and Geno Smith.
That's the end of the sentence.
That's the end of the sentence.
I love it.
I like that. He's like, all right, I know where they're still playing ball. I'm going to go to Florida.
Is he like Libertyville, Florida? Is he down there?
Fort Lauderdale.
All right, fair enough.
He was a communications major.
I love
4.42. I mean, that's
no, he's great. So
he's 5'9" though, Sean. He's your height.
So you're throwing a prop on him for first receiver taken? Like, what's those odds?
I have action on him. I have action on Quentin Johnston. And I continually have been debating if it's time to grab just a tiny bit of Addison just in case.
Ooh.
Basically, I'm fading. I'm saying the NFL will not make a slot receiver the number one receiver pick.
The slot.
And I famously hit the first receiver drafted last year, Drake London.
Famously.
Almost 2-1. I was just you got what I was doing.
I was doing a callback.
He was doing a callback on. Yeah. Eagles first pick. We kind of already hit on this. On
defensive line, right?
D line, right? We're all going D line.
It's 2-1 right now in the wild.
Yeah, D line. If it's I mean, obviously it depends on who falls to him. I like D line.
What's your take, CJ? It sounds like you don't agree.
Who do you want them to draft, CJ?
Personally, I'm hoping one of those two cornerbacks drop down.
Oh, okay.
I would like. That's what I think they.
Yeah, I haven't thought a ton about cornerback.
Replace CJ and a bunch of those guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
You got Slay and Bradbury under control for 2 more years. It would make sense to have a nice overlap.
I think there's a world where both those corners will be there at that pick.
If that's the case, that's again. I think like my bet. we'll get to the
I
Giants.
don't want to tip my cap to the SGPN mock draft.
Oh, well.
Oh yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, don't tell
Wednesday.
me.
I'm just previewing for the listeners at home.
For those who aren't in the mock draft, most of you listening, I did post some simple rules. I said no trades and don't tell Sean and Ryan anything.
Yeah,
we got to be surprised.
Okay.
I'm really gonna react like my bets are on the line.
Yeah,
I think NC Nick did announce his pick.
I know.
But other than that, most people were pretty good.
It was amazing because when you guys did announce the rules, I'm like, I wonder how many are going to blatantly just blow through this road sign, these red flags.
Well, I think he was.
Do it.
I think he had Carolina with Bryce Young, so not shocking. Right.
Fairly confident. Not many people read.
Right, because then literally the next line. So do I text it here or do I? No spoilers. I have it on tape.
Welcome to owning a small business.
The bar is low.
Like it was a Game of Thrones episode.
They call it the tripping bar.
All right, so D line will have to go with.
Yeah, 2-1. I might have to rip that off. Are we locked? Yeah, we're locked in.
Okay.
Patriots first pick, receiver, O-line, cornerback. For this contest, I don't know, man. I
don't think it's cornerback.
See, I had them going cornerback.
Why?
Well, because Christian Gonzalez in my mock was still available.
I think it's O-line or receiver. Bill Belichick loves O-line. Yeah, well, I mean, I have no idea what this team is.
He likes those interchangeable.
I mean,
they got 2 tight ends. They got a bunch of different receivers that are all like not exciting. I guess they could go receiver. Like I said, Zay Flowers would be a certain that pick would make.
So offensive linemen's plus 225, cornerbacks plus 225, receiver plus 240. So quarterback is 7-1. Like they have no idea even in the market here. I think honestly that just looking, we didn't really break this one down, but as a draft prop, defensive lineman edge at 9-1 or even tight end at 20-1 are kind of interesting bets there. Cause to me, every year the Patriots are wild cards. Cause again, it's first pick. So they could trade down.
Right. What is their pick right now? What number are they at?
What's it?
14.
14.
So
14.
they were, yeah. So
yeah, I doubt they'll pick at 14.
I'll just go offensive line, keep it chalky here. But as far as like the betting odds,
receiver would be. I would go offensive line and receiver. I wouldn't go cornerback.
I'm just going. I'm going other just out of Belichick.
Yeah, that's actually
out of
probably
principle.
a great play.
He'll make up a position. He'll pick a rugby player. Who knows?
Wait,
I'm
hold
just
on.
going other. I'll go other sport.
Are you looking
with
at the
Belichick.
Patriot odds?
Yes.
All right. What is the kicker, long snapper, punter?
Yes.
200-1.
All right.
Yes.
Can we get it? Let's put a couple bucks down.
I'm in on that.
Just in case.
Sure.
they just keep trading back.
Holder, not even a kicker. A holder. Some kind of part of the
safety is 25-1. What about Branch? Is he officially a safety or is he listed as a cornerback?
I don't know. It's tough because the Giants like him too, and he's a safety and a cornerback. So I don't know how that would get graded. I feel like you're gonna get screwed either way. I would just stay away from the safety market.
Ravens, cornerback, receiver, defensive line.
I know we talked about Porter. It's just got to be receiver. This is the last piece of the gift, right? Like when I go to Vegas and the host wants to be nice, I walk in and I got the big bowl of fruit there waiting for me. They got Odell, and now they just need a young pup.
Yeah, see that's what I think. But now I think you're upsetting Odell if you draft a receiver. You have a whole other ego
Like
you got
that.
to work with
Already.
Yeah,
I'll go chalk here. I'll go cornerback.
yeah, I like that too.
Betting odds: cornerbacks minus 120, receivers plus 200.
Okay.
Again, especially for these,
It seems pretty obvious they want to sign Lamar, and if they don't sign a receiver,
Can't upset Odell. It's Odell's team. You like it or not, you gave him the reins.
I was
Odell's
just
big
like
crab
laughing
guy.
my ass off that they were covering Odell flying to Baltimore.
Right.
This guy's been like a third receiver.
Well, because his last flight to Dallas didn't go well. That's why he was removed. He was removed from his last flight.
He flew private, but the headline was Odell's first touchdown in Baltimore. It's like, he had 3 in an entire season. Don't act like this is a. What are we talking about?
That's awesome. He should be flying private too. He can't be sitting up. Even if it is first class, you can't.
I heard it was economy plus. That's how.
Was that what it was?
No, I don't know.
I can see a few vodkas and pills, and I'm not going to buckle my seat. You buckle my seatbelt.
I mean, it did seem like
everyone seemed annoying in that video. It's really like he shouldn't have been kicked off the plane, but he was also being a douche.
Sure.
Moving over, we got only a couple left here. New York Giants in the contest. Receiver, O-line, cornerback, or other.
He refused to check his kicking net at the game.
Ryan, breaking news. I famously gave out Giants first drafted player to be a tight end at 75 to 1.
Nice.
It's now down to 65 to 1.
Fix your mock draft though.
CLV.
It's not fix your mock draft.
I like. Oh wait, I forgot breaking news. A good way to break news.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. CJ.
No, I
Sean
just love
does
that.
this all the time.
That's hilarious. From the other day, breaking news.
He spells team with 2 eyes as well.
Yep. There's 2 eyes in winning, Ryan.
Yeah.
Let's get to the winners.
2 ends too. I got cornerback.
Really?
I think very.
So who are you gonna have them taken in your mock draft? Tease the listeners here.
So cornerback is probably like the logical choice. I think the fun longer shot is defensive line. I'm gonna have him taking Joey Porter most likely. Maybe it's an optimistic pick, but
I saw one of the guys over at the Big Blue View, I think, had him taking linebacker. Linebacker's 20 to 1. That
I think there's a lot of fanboys out there. You gotta understand in the Giants Twitter sphere and coverage, there's some fan coverage out there that I think tight end, no offense, and I think linebacker, and honestly, even probably center. Like Joe Shane is not going to draft poor value. Like he gets it. He's got Howie's former right hand man with him. Like I do believe positional value is key, and that's why I think cornerback is going to be the pick here. I really do. I think Wink feels like he's a cornerback away from being dangerous. And like I said, if I want to be spicy, maybe they go get BJ Ojulari and unite the brothers. And you go defensive lineman at 7 to 1, but they're not on this list, so I went cornerback.
Well, yeah, obviously I have breaking news. I talked to my uncle in Hartford on the phone last night. Uncle Kevin used to be a bookie. He's now
down at the docks.
Now he's a marshal. Shout out to him. And he said they like that kid by you, and by kid by me. I think he was talking about Jordan Addison. Receiver for USC.
They do. They like him.
So that's why I think they need a receiver anyway, just to get rid of that whole Galladay mess. And
Speaking like specifically the reason, if you want to know the reason they like him, a lot of people have put them with Zay Flowers because of the geolocation. Not true. Again, they value the age. Like they're really into like young breakout thing, and Addison breaking out when he did at Pitt, it fits the mold. I don't hate it.
So somebody told him in the newsstand where they make $1,000 payments inside of a Hartford Current.
I'll also say this:
that kid out in California is who they like.
I'll say this: after Gettleman and all the rats were exterminated from the Giants vessel, there's been no real leaks.
Yeah,
no real leaks.
Also,
so it's hard to tell.
Was this? But you died on this pillar at the end of the regular season where you said there's no leaks. Daniel Jones is starting against the Eagles. You recall that?
That's a completely different situation.
Yeah.
We're talking about scouting nuggets in the draft.
Oh, okay.
We're not talking about
talking about our boy.
You
Pat
call
Leonard?
yourself a football guy?
I am a football guy. And I said
These are completely
Daniel
different
Jones
things,
wasn't going to start
the
meaningless game against the Eagles. And you said I was crazy.
The seal
and
around.
I said the reporters are reporting. You said there's no leaks.
The seal around your draft war room is a completely different seal than some bullshit that was reported towards the end of the season that turned out to be true only due to luck.
Hilarious.
Circumstances has.
All right.
Second piece of breaking news, by the way, my uncle, the Irish bookie, will come out to visit me as soon as we get rid of our Nazi governor here in California.
Then tell him I apologize for the comments earlier about working at the top.
Not at all.
I know Hartford's barely on the water.
Right.
So you have Giants receiver Kramer. What's your official play?
I'm going cornerback.
You're going cornerback.
All right.
So like I said,
what cornerback do you think they're going to get?
Porter.
Porter. Yeah.
They love him. 100% they love him.
I like him too.
We got 2 questions left. Cowboys first pick. Yeah. Tight end, offensive line, defensive line, other. I went defensive line in my mock draft because I had Bijan going early and I had a couple tight ends already off the board.
They lost Dalton Schultz. This is easy, right?
You're going tight end.
They're not playing Pendershot next year, are they? I'm going tight end or offensive line.
I had them get Mozzie Smither.
Yeah, but
kid, athletic freak from Michigan.
Michael Mayer is a perfect Cowboys pick.
Yeah, that's true. That is
If
true.
he's there.
But the Cowboys love to do shit too on the draft day, though. They like to splash around. That's why I can see Bijan going on.
I can see them trading up for Bijan
right,
too.
no matter where they got to go to get him. Exactly. Just double down on
Trading up for a first-round running back is just pure
Yes,
Dallas Cowboys.
absolutely.
And they look back on the Zeke Elliott thing as like that was a great
Yeah,
run.
it was.
He was a great Cowboy.
I mean, it was for a couple years, but overall, absolutely not. Right.
Number 4, you need a guy who's going to be there forever.
Has Zeke signed with anyone yet?
a long time.
No, he's going to
Jesus.
resign.
He will now that the Aaron Rodgers situation.
He's like all these young kids. They'd rather collect unemployment than actually work.
Now you're sounding like CJ's uncle.
Oh.
So I'll go defensive line. Kramer, what are you doing? You're doing tight end.
I'll go tight end.
CJ, offensive line. Other.
I went other.
Other.
I think I'm going with them getting Bijan. No matter, and over trading to get Bijan,
Yeah.
Zeke style. Go up there, get that top 10. Somewhere.
And just for those who are curious, if the team doesn't have a first round pick, it's other.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So if they trade.
Oh, if
out
they
of
trade
the first
out of
round,
it, all right,
It's
fair enough.
graded as a.
It's important that.
And the tiebreaker. How many SEC players will be picked in round 1 without going over? This one takes a little bit of thought.
Well,
Kramer, what are you
the
doing?
line is 11.5 minus 200 on the under.
So I'm going with 9.
Wait a minute. What are we looking at? Total SEC
total
players.
SEC.
So that tells me if I'm 11.5 minus 200 under, I'll just say 11.
Yeah, it's a good number.
I'll just fire 11.
Okay.
I'm gonna go over just because it's the SEC.
All right, so you'll go 12.
Contrarian,
12.
and let's go with lucky 13.
Lucky
Ooh.
13.
Well, the two guys will be Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt.
Oh, that'll really swing
I've,
things.
Yeah, and I've talked myself into Hooker going first round, even though I'm taking the under though. But yes, I think Hooker is now going in the first round.
It does seem like it's
Right.
yeah. They're gonna make him first rounder.
You know where I might have the Chiefs take Hooker in my model.
Yes.
Oh, now we're talking, Ryan.
That's spicy.
Now we're talking. That's a spicy meatball.
Been working on the recipe, trying to figure out how to. Everyone best destination is the Chiefs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you learned under Andy Reid, you're gonna be successful.
They don't, yeah. It doesn't matter that your S2 score was low.
All right. Hey, SGPN Draft Week is here. Again, get in the contest exclusively for people in the Discord. If you haven't joined Discord, it's free. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord, your digital DGen sports bar right there. A lot of fun picks in there. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast. We have our live mock draft on Wednesday night. And then the NFL draft watch party. We're going to be reacting to all 31 first round NFL picks. Big thanks to CJ Sullivan for hopping on. Make sure you subscribe to Bottom Line Bombs wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes.
So you can experience the man in the box. Give him a follow on social media as well at was it CJ Sullivan?
At CJ Sullivan _ on Twitter and Instagram at CJ Sullivan was taken. Not in the Liam Neeson style, but as that name was taken already. So I would go ahead and took that.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green, and he is Ryan.
I still can't believe Will Levis thought it was a good idea to eat a banana without taking the peel off.
Kramer, let it ride.
Send this mock draft.